In this tutorial, we will find the marginal cost of the given cost function. For the cost function c of q, which equals 1000 minus 25q minus 0.2q squared, simplify the quotient c of q plus h minus c of q all divided by h, then determine the marginal cost of the qth unit of output. Before we simplify the quotient, let's compute c of q plus h on the side. So what does c of q plus h mean? It means that we're going to write q plus h everywhere that we see the variable q in the given cost function, the one we see in red. So because it was minus 25q, I replace it with q plus h. And the last term is minus 0.2q squared, which I will now replace with q plus h, all squared. Let's distribute negative 25 into the brackets in the second term, and let's FOIL the third term, q plus h all squared. Now let's distribute the negative 0.2 into the last bracket. Now that we have c of q plus h and we're given c of q, we can substitute these into the quotient formula that we plan to simplify. So in the next few steps, I'm going to write the c of q plus h with blue and the c of q with red, just so that you can distinguish them easier. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in the equation for c of q plus h. Now it's going to be minus the cost function, which I will write in red. And I'm putting brackets around the entire cost function because we're subtracting. So that subtraction needs to be distributed to each term. And remember, the quotient has the whole thing divided by h. So I'm just writing everything out, and I'm going to switch to black because we don't need to distinguish. And in this step, I'm going to distribute the negative into the last bracket. Now let's combine like terms to simplify. I have positive 1000 and negative 1000, and I have negative 25q and positive 25q. In fact, if you've done everything correctly up until this point, every term that does not contain the variable h should cancel out. That means we should only be left with terms that contain an h in the next step. In the numerator, let's factor out an h. So we can cross out the h in the numerator with the h in the denominator. Now, in order to find the marginal cost, we have to let h shrink to 0. In other words, when h equals 0, we obtain the marginal cost.